Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we have a pretty surprisingly highly requested one, which is a tour of UNC's campus. Now, I've never considered being a tour guide or signing up for any of that, but I figured I'd give it a shot in a video form and we'll just see how it goes. I'm gonna try to do this in the most no BS way possible, not talk about any of that filler stuff that they do during regular tours, no offense tour guides, and just hopefully give you an idea of how campus is laid out and what to expect. Now, everyone says this, but that's because it's true. The best way to see UNC's campus is to actually be here. So if you can at all, just come here, even if it's just for an hour or two. Please do that. It'll be a completely new perspective, but I understand it's not possible for everyone, so hopefully this helps. Alright, let's get started. Right now, I'm on the most south point of UNC's campus. I'll put a map right here. I'll put it up a lot during this video so you have a good idea of where I'm going. Since they're obviously going to be cut and I'm doing this vlog style, that should help a little bit. I am right in front of the Dean E. Smith Center. Hopefully you know what that is. If not, it's the Dean Dome. It's where UNC plays their basketball games, and it doesn't look too flashy or anything from the outside, but on the inside, it's a really nice arena. I think can fit 19,000 people. And if you go to UNC, you have to go to a basketball game. It's a must. So if we walk down these steps here, to my right, you have another building dedicated to UNC basketball. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's actually a museum / showcase sort of thing of the history of the team. So that's really cool. I've yet to visit it, but I definitely will sometime. And as we get all the way down here, we will be right next to Skipper Bowles Road. There is a bus stop right there and a parking lot to the right. Behind the parking lot, I don't know if you can see it, but there are a few tennis courts and volleyball nets, and I believe one basketball court as well. Those buildings right there are Rams Village Apartments, which are sort of apartment dorm hybrids, but they're pretty much a living on-campus option for upperclassmen because you have to live on campus freshman year. But if you still want to later on and not in a dorm setting, then those are probably your best options. Then as we continue down, you can see the really long road entrance to Kenan Flagler Business School. The technical name for this building is McCall Building, but yeah, it is super nice. The inside is 4 floors, quite a few classrooms. There's a very mini dining hall in the bottom with a bagel shop and a couple other things. As you can tell, the location is very disconnected from the rest of campus, and it's on top of a pretty big hill. I guess they did that back whenever they built this to signify its prestige, and it does that really well. However, if you do get accepted into the business school, this is where most of your classes are going to be, and it is not really a fun walk if your other classes are on the other side of campus. So yeah, like I said, because it's on top of the hill, the road entrance to it is super long, and there is also a stair entrance that you can find next to the Dean Smith Center. Anyways, further down Skipper Bowles, you have Bowles Lot here, which is the largest surface parking lot at UNC. It's a Saturday right now, so it's pretty empty. But on a typical weekday, this lot is completely packed. And yeah, it's right across, like I said earlier, those are where the volleyball nets and tennis courts and stuff are. Now let's walk up to the end of Skipper Bowles by going up this annoyingly steep hill. You can't really tell from the camera, but this hill is so steep, and that's why I say it's so annoying to walk to business classes if you have stuff on that side of campus. And there we go, we have made it to the top, and we're about to hit one of the biggest intersections at UNC. I'll get to that in a bit, but for now we are going to take a right onto Manning Drive. Still keep in mind this is very south campus, and we're going to check out the 2 main freshman dorms at UNC. This is where Horton and Honors Dorm is, as well as the biggest dorm at UNC, Hinton James. Not sure how well you can see it, but check out my dorm guide video if you want more specific information about it. But essentially it's 10 stories, regular suite style, and it is the most south dorm on campus. And then right across from Hinton James you have Corey as well as Ehringhaus. Similarly, Corey is the honors dorm and Ehringhaus is the regular suite style dorm, except this one is 6 floors instead of Hinton James is 10. Also, Ehringhaus is in a slightly better location because it has this little area outside of it, which is right behind the front entrance. As we walk on it, we'll get to the baseball stadium, which is right there, and the field hockey stadium, which is right there. I think they're having a practice right now or something. And then at the end of it, you will get to where I am at this timestamp right here. Alright, it's the next day, but I'm back where we left off. I'm in front of Ehringhaus right now. I actually just got recognized by someone, so if you're watching this, shout out to you, man. I know you couldn't hear me very well, but that was awesome. And yeah, now it's time to walk to main campus. And the first step of that is hitting that annoying intersection that I talked to you about earlier. This is the path that you're gonna take if you're in any of those 4 dorms that I mentioned. This path right here, but if you wanted to go down this way, go down Ridge Road, what you'd find is the entrance to Rams Head Parking Deck, a very mini convenience store. The path that I showed you from Aaron Cowles, that goes across on that side. You'd find Avery Dorm, and then the entrance to Stadium Drive, which is the road that we're gonna cross in a bit. On Stadium Drive, you'd find like Parker, Teague, Carmichael, those dorms. And then if you kept going to the end of Ridge Road, you'd find Boschmer Stadium, which is UNC's baseball stadium. But like I said, this way is sort of the shortcut, and it goes right through campus. You don't have to cross many roads or anything, so it's much quicker. And right there, you'll actually see a bunch of Tar Heel bikes, which are bikes that you can rent for free for an hour each if you're ever super in a hurry and you need a quicker way to get there. So we just passed the like student service buildings, and I guess they're building another one here. I don't know what this construction's about. As we come up further here, we're gonna hit Morrison. It's pretty much the sophomore equivalent of Hitton James. It's almost 1,000 people, I'm pretty sure, 10 floors. And it is still technically South Campus, but it is in a slightly better location than the freshman dorms that we were just at. So this is the turn that I always got mixed up on during freshman year. I always thought you just go straight, but no, that'll just lead you to a dead end, and then this place just goes to the Morrison parking lot and back to where we came from. You have to make this sharp right. It sounds weird saying that when I'm just walking, but yeah, you make it a sharp right onto this path right here. And then at the bottom here, we reach one of the areas that you're going to want to know if you go to UNC, because this is where Rams Head is, which is one of UNC's gyms, as well as Chase Dining Hall, which is one of UNC's 2 dining halls. In my opinion, it's a superior one of the 2. This is where a lot of the freshmen go because it's closer to their dorms. This is also the only one that's open after 9. There's a staircase right there. That's where the path that I showed you from the back of Aaron's house, that's where it comes. So this is where both of those merge, and pretty much everyone walks the same way to class. Continuing up that same path, you are going to pass Kenan Memorial Stadium. Lighting's kind of weird right now, but you get the point. It's right in the center of campus. It's right on your walk to class. And I've said this so many times, but I just find it so cool that if they're not having practice or doing anything with the field, you can walk in the stadium. You can just chill on the field, play football with your friends, and no one really seems to care. So definitely do that whenever you come here. So as we come to the end of that path, we are going to hit the middle part of Stadium Drive, which is what I consider to be the main road that connects the south part of campus to the main part of campus. And as you can see, the very end of this road is when we hit UNC's famous bell tower. There's a lot of people taking like graduation pictures and stuff right now. It's one of UNC's main symbols. Not really many people just go there to chill or hang out or whatever, but it's just a cool thing to pass every day, and it does chime every 15 minutes. But anyways, we are now right in front of the main part of campus. We haven't entered it yet. It's behind all these buildings, so let's go. You have got to be kidding me. I was about to go onto main campus, and then literally my mic, which is supposed to go on top of there, like the bottom part that attaches it, broke. I don't want to use the crappy camera audio, so I guess time to find some way to fix this, and I will see you guys for day 3 of this one-day tour. Okay, we are back. It's a different day, new mic. And I just crossed that street from the bell tower, and I could take this path up right here to go right to campus, but I'm not going to because I want to walk down that same street, which is South Road, by the way. You're going to want to know that, and show you what's on the east side of main campus. And here in the center of the road, we're going to cross UNC student stores, the iconic student stores. This is where you're going to find your UNC branded merch, t-shirts, accessories, literally anything you can think of, you'll find it here. It's overpriced, not crazy overpriced, but there are sales almost every single week. So yeah, that was one of the entrances to that. Now this is another staircase you can get to the main part of campus, but we're going to keep going down South Road. We are going to cross one of the entrances to the Carolina Student Union. Now usually there's like a Wendy's right behind those doors, but that's actually been shut down right now because they transformed it to a spot where people are getting vaccinated. So yeah, this leads to the bottom floor of the Union. And then across South Road, so like right here, you're gonna find the entrance to the Student Recreation Center, which is the second of UNC's gyms. So now we are going to turn left onto Raleigh Street, but if you did keep going down South Road that way, you would find Dorrance Field, which is UNC's soccer and lacrosse stadium. as well as Woolen Gym, which is right there, which is technically UNC's third gym, but it's mainly for basketball. It doesn't have any of the traditional gym equipment, stuff like that. A little bit down Raleigh Street, you have a few dorms here, mostly the hall style ones. I think these are mostly for upperclassmen. So I will show the rest of Raleigh Street maybe later in the video, but for now we are going to cut across this parking lot right here and finally get to the main center of campus. We are passing some more hall style dorms to our right. I believe these are like Mangum, Ruffin. I haven't even heard of some of these, so that just shows you how many dorms there are at UNC and how many people actually live on campus. Further down to our right, we have Hamilton Hall, which is one of the most famous classroom buildings at UNC. I guess it's one of the oldest too. If you have Econ 101 or like one of the basic comp classes, those are likely going to be in here. It has a huge auditorium on the bottom floor, and then I've heard that the top floors are really dirty and stuff. The main thing that we're going to cross is going to be on my left here, and that is Davis Library, aka UNC's main library. Davis is 8 floors. Only one is actually open right now because of COVID, but usually during a typical year, which I hope is next year, every floor is crowded. The top 6 floors are usually meant for like straight grinding, quiet. The bottom 2 floors are like you can do work, but a lot of people are just talking as well. And if you go to UNC, you're inevitably going to have a bunch of grind sessions, and this is where you're going to spend a lot of your time. But now I'm entering the heart of campus, and especially if you haven't been here before, it's best if you just take it in by yourself. So I'm going to roll some B-roll, and I'll explain what everything is as a voiceover. Over there you have your main entrance for student stores, and then back here you have a little seating area, and then the entrance to the Carolina Student Union. Going down a little further, you will see the top of that staircase that I showed you earlier, and then the very end of the Union, as well as a huge outdoor seating area to work or eat or whatever you want to do there. And then back here you have Lenore Dining Hall, which is UNC's other dining hall. It's the main one. It's what you're going to have when you're in this area of campus for class. And yeah, overall, this building, and this building are probably the 3 most important ones at your time at UNC. And then, of course, student stores. This whole area right here in front of student stores is called the Pit. Usually during the day, like during normal class days, there's a lot of clubs and organizations over here that are there to just help people or give free things away or just advertise their organization. So usually during class time, it's a pretty active place. As we go further down past the student stores and Lenore, we are going to reach the undergraduate library, which is right there. It's 3 floors. It's a bit nicer than Davis on the inside, but obviously since it's 3 floors, it's a lot more crowded. It's closed right now, but it should be open next year. And then over here we have a classroom building called Greenlaw. And then that's all just Lenore again. Further down past the library, we have another classroom building, Bingham. And then we are going to hit the signature part of UNC's campus, which is this area with Wilson Hall. This is actually a library. As you can probably tell from the outside, it's sort of an old-fashioned one. Not many people I know actually go in here to work. There's a few, but overall, it's more so just a symbol for UNC's campus because it is right in front of the quad. It's obviously just like a huge green field, but it's right in the center of like 8 to 12 different class buildings. That's what all of these are on the other side too. And so it's really nice because it breaks up the monotony of just brick class buildings. And yeah, if it's a nice weather day, there'll be a ton of people out here just doing work or chilling or hanging out, and it's one of the things that makes UNC so engulfed in nature and the campus a lot more special. Also, if you're wondering what that is a tent they set up for people to have a place to work or eat outside during COVID, and I actually have no idea if it's going to be here next year or not. It does stretch pretty far back, and still all of these are class buildings, so chances are if you do have 2 classes back to back, they will likely be right next to one another, so you don't have to walk a bunch. And that is pretty much main campus. As you can see, it's just those important buildings back there around the Pit, and then classroom buildings on classroom buildings next to the quad, which, I mean, it's a college. So that is pretty much what you're here for. It does extend a little bit down that way, but again, it's just going to be more buildings for classrooms. Interesting thing to note is a lot of these buildings are based around a department. So like that one down there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's Carroll Hall, and that is home to the School of Journalism and Media, which is where I'm studying. And then further down you'll see like Sitterson Hall, where the comp sci school is. Dye Hall, DEY, is down at the beginning of the quad. That has a lot of the foreign language classes, and not all of the buildings are like this, but it is a trend that you'll notice pretty soon. As we move on past the entire quad, we are going to hit Cameron Avenue, which is home to UNC's other main icon, the Old Well, which usually always has something happening next to it. It's actually pretty small, at least that's what I thought when I got here. Like with how big the symbol was and where it was everywhere, I expected it to be pretty big, but no, it's an old well. And if you don't know what the tradition is, that everyone's supposed to drink out of it on the first day of class to get a 4.0 GPA, but that's clearly not worked very well. Okay, I actually don't know what I just ran into. She's singing the national anthem, so that's super cool actually. So if you walk down the west side of Cameron Avenue, you're gonna find, surprise, surprise, more dorms and more classroom buildings. And then if you walk down the east side, you're gonna find Davey Hall, which is like the psychology building, as well as like Coker Arboretum, which is a really nice outdoor area to explore. We just actually crossed over Cameron Avenue and we are walking towards Franklin Street now, but I wanted to show you guys this first. This is actually Old East, which is the dorm that Michael Jordan stayed at, so fun fact there. I hope the person who told me that was telling the truth. And then we hit what is referred to as usually the upper quad, which is technically an extension of the quad, I guess. It's another grassy area with brick paths in between. And this one is usually a lot more peaceful because it's not in a super crowded area of campus, but it is equally as pretty and almost just as big actually. And as we hit the end of the upper quad, there's a few more buildings, but namely Moorhead Planetarium. Now when I was on campus last year, this was under renovation most of the time, so I only went in it once but only got to see like one floor of it. But even just from that, I could see how cool it was, and I really want to sit under the actual dome now and just explore it one time. As we pass Moorhead and this building, which is Graham Memorial, we are going to hit Franklin Street. And if you've ever been to Chapel Hill, you know exactly what that is. It's technically not part of UNC's campus. It's downtown. It's downtown Chapel Hill, but it's where you're gonna find all your favorite off-campus restaurants, shops. There's a Target there. This is where your apartments start popping up, and it's, I guess, just like the happening place in Chapel Hill. And it's so nice, so convenient to have it walking distance from campus. So if you ever want to escape from that traditional campus environment, it's literally right here. For a lot of nights where you're just free and want to hang out with friends and get dinner somewhere fancier or just go out, this is where you want to go. It's also where you're gonna find a lot of your sorority houses. That one's actually massive, I never noticed. But yeah, so like the end of the main part of Franklin Street on this end is actually where it intersects Raleigh Street, which is the street that we cut into campus from. So in case you're curious about what's between where we cut into campus and here, it's really not that much. It's just like a few houses, a couple dorms like Alderman, Stacey Graham, those ones. There's Cobb parking deck, there's a tennis court, a basketball court. There's the intersection between Raleigh Street and Cameron Avenue, as well as the end of Coker Arboretum, like I mentioned earlier. And then the other main end of Franklin Street is right here. This is the intersection with Columbia Street, but I consider this the other main end of Franklin Street because this is where campus ends. So we're gonna go and walk down Columbia Street now. And yes, Franklin Street does go further down that direction. There's a lot more restaurants, shops, and all of that. One of the first things that you'll see is the Ackland Art Museum, which is right over there, and it is just an art museum. Again, it's one of those unique things that you're not going to go to very often, but it's nice to explore once or twice. Then we are going to pass the Haynes Art Center, which despite its fancy name, it's pretty much just another classroom building. The next thing that you'll be seeing is going to be on the other side of the street, and that is Frat Court. And I don't think I really need to explain this one. It's just like 5 or 6 fraternity houses all next to each other, and you know what happens there on weekends. As we hit the intersection between Cameron Avenue and Columbia Street, you'll see another frat house, as well as the Carolina Inn, which is one of the most famous hotels on UNC's campus. I've never been inside of it actually, but I've heard it's super nice, super expensive, and it looks really luxurious from the outside too. Now we're gonna start passing some of the main campus buildings again. Like that's the comp sci building I was telling you about earlier. There's my media and journalism school again. This is where ROTC is. And now we have hit the intersection with South Road once again. You can see there's like a few lab buildings right there that you couldn't see before. Wilson's actually right behind there. I've always thought this one was just like the ugliest building at UNC, like it's literally just cement. I don't know. So these are all class buildings as well. I think this is Mitchell Hall. Actually, one block over, you're gonna find the FedEx Global Education Center, which is another place where some classes are held. So that's probably one of your further walks you're gonna have if you happen to get that. But it's a really nice building. It's a nice place to just study and do work as well. Another cool building at UNC's campus that's not really in a practical place is the Genome Sciences Center. Obviously this isn't where the main entrance is one of the newest buildings at UNC, and it looks super high tech on the inside, and obviously being a Genome Sciences Center, that's sort of what you'd expect. But yeah, continuing down Columbia, we're gonna enter the medical side of UNC's campus. I'll do this part relatively quickly because I'm not a pre-med student. I'm like the furthest thing from it, so I don't know too much about this area, but there are definitely some cool parts of it. These are all just different schools within the medical side, so like I think that's the medicine one, that's the pharmacy one, you can't really see it. Here we're going to actually pass the health sciences library, which I've actually have been in it. It's a nice alternate place to do work if you're getting tired of the traditional 3 UNC libraries. I think it's like 5 or 6 floors. It is open right now during COVID, so definitely check it out if you ever can make it to this side. That's the big one right there, Gilling School of Public Health. A lot of people I know want to get into that. So now we are about to hit the intersection between South Columbia Street and Manning Drive, and Manning Drive is going to be the last part of our tour, I guess, because it'll wrap around to where we started. This building right here, the Mary Ellen Jones building, I have actually been inside of it too. And I know I've said this about the medical side a lot, but oh my god, it is so cool. Like you can see a drastic difference between these buildings and the ones on main campus, like how much newer, how much high tech they are. And again, there's some open rooms, so if you ever want a really unique, different place to do work for one day, come to some of these buildings. So now on my right, we have a few of like the biggest parking decks at UNC, and then to my left, we have UNC's hospitals. UNC's famous hospitals are located right here, right pretty much next to campus or even on campus. I think these are some of its main buildings, and yeah, I mean obviously not really a reason to go there. If you're a student, I know my friend Samir went for Starbucks because there's a 24/7 Starbucks there, so I know he went at like 12 a.m. once to get that, but other than that, hopefully you won't need to go here during your time here. Further down Manning, you'll see the back end or front end, whichever way you want to look at it, of Morrison, the sophomore dorm I told you about earlier. Across the street you will find, not sure if you can see it, but Craig back there is one of the other main freshman dorms at UNC. Hardin over here is also along Manning Drive, and it's like the honors dorm next to Morrison, just like Horton is to Hinton James. And now we will hit that same intersection that we have passed twice already during this tour, and that'll pretty much be it. You can keep going down further and you'll get back to Ehrenhausen, Hinton James. If you take a right, you'll hit the business school like we saw earlier. And if you take a left, you'll go down Ridge Road and see all the things I mentioned earlier, as well as the School of Government and School of Law. I don't think I mentioned that earlier, but those are all the way East Campus on Ridge Road. But yeah, that is going to do it for this one, I guess. Hopefully you found this at least a little bit helpful. If you can't make it to campus, let me know. And drop a like and a sub to keep updated with all my college and UNC related content. Let me know any questions you have, all of that good stuff. Now I just need to figure out how the heck to get back to my car, which is all the way on the opposite side of campus. I actually learned a lot about campus myself during this, more than I already knew. So it was nice to do. It took a while, but we made it. Hopefully this video isn't like 30 minutes long, but we'll see. And yeah, my arm is hurting, so I will see you guys later. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace out.